Hi, I'm Catherine Gray, founder of She Angel Investors and co-founder of the She Angels Foundation. I'm also the podcast host of Invest in Her and an award-winning producer, author, and TEDx speaker. Our show, Invest in Her, features phenomenal female founders and funders. As you know, women receive less than 2% of venture capital funding. Our series is about accelerating the funding of women by connecting them to funding resources. Let's meet today's guest. Welcome to this week's edition of Invest in Her. I'm your host, Catherine Gray, founder of She Angel Investors. And today I have on a TV chef, food blogger, and best-selling author. Let's welcome the extraordinary Katie Chin. Hi, Katie.
Hey, Catherine.
How you doing?
I'm great. How are you?
Oh my God, we've had so much fun this week.
Really
It's great to have this crescendo of having you on my show.
I know. We've packed a lot in.
We did. So, let's tell everybody at home, like you have just an amazing background and story, and you do so many things. I was saying, people say I do a lot of things, but I feel like I'm standing still when I look at all the things that you're doing. So let's tackle some of them. First of all, as I mentioned, everybody, you're a TV chef, you're a food blogger, a best-selling author, and I want to mention that you were just featured on the Kelly Clarkson show.
I was.
That was super fun to see my friend on there, and you did such a great job. You and Rita Wilson were on there, and it was super fun. You just seem like you are having a blast with everything you do. Am I right?
I really am.
Yeah.
I mean, life is short, right?
Yeah,
and
right.
You've got to make the most of it. And I think we've learned a lot from COVID as well, right?
Yes.
So I just, I've had 9 lives. So I'm just trying to enjoy every one of them.
Yeah. Well, here's to 99 more. So let's see, where do we start? Because you do all these cool things. And what I love is that you're really doing everything that you really love, right? And I think every week I like to talk about, having people on that are just passionate about what they're doing. And that's you, with every fiber of your being, right? Passionate about life, passionate about food, passionate about people. Am I right?
Yes.
Yeah. So I was so blessed to have you cater our film wrap party for Show Her the Money. And that was just magical. That was last week, and it was so fun. And everybody was raving about the food. Tell me about your food background and how you got into this. I know, but of course our listeners don't know the extraordinary story about your mom being an immigrant here to the country and the good fortune that brought her into the restaurant business. But I'm going to let you tell that story.
Well, thank you so much.
Yeah.
I do love sharing the story because I feel it's so inspirational. My mother's story. It's going to take a moment because, it's important to tell. So my mother immigrated from China in 1956. Yeah. She was a seamstress making just 50 cents an hour, but she always loved to cook. And then one day she threw a luncheon for some of her sewing clients, and they were blown away by her cuisine because they had never had authentic Chinese cuisine back in the 60s and 70s. And they encouraged her to start teaching classes and to cater. So she did that. And little by little, she grew this catering business out of our tiny home in Minneapolis, Minnesota. Okay. And she didn't even have a car. She had to take the bus, right?
Oh, my God.
But anyway, she grew a following. And then one day she caught the eye of a local socialite who wanted to open a restaurant with my mom. And that socialite happened to be friends with the owner of the Minnesota Twins. Now, the owner of the Minnesota Twins happened to be friends with Sean Connery. What? It's like it's a crazy story.
Talk about kismet.
Right? I mean, crazy. So Sean Connery happened to go to Minneapolis to visit his friend, Robert Redford, who was directing the film Ordinary People.
Oh, my gosh.
And so someone threw a welcome party and hired my mom to cater it, and I was there.
Oh, wait, let me just interject. Another movie party.
Yes, another movie. It's all coming full circle.
Yeah.
And I was there serving dumplings to Robert Redford and Sean Connery.
And how old were you then?
I think I was like 9.
Wow.
So then
So this was like 20 years ago.
Yeah, at least. Anyway, so Robert Redford was really shy, but I handed the dumplings to Sean Connery, and he turned around and he said, "Oh, nice dumplings. I'll never forget it. And he too fell in love with my mother's cuisine and decided to invest in my mother's first restaurant. And when people got wind of that, of course, there were lines around the block. She opened more and more restaurants. And by the 80s, she had over 40 restaurants.
Wow.
She then sold her company to General Mills, and they made her president of the division, even though she never even went to high school.
This is like the most incredible story. Your mother must have had like angels above her. I mean, this story is incredible, right?
She really did. And just think about,
wait, let's slow it down a little bit. So she built over 40 restaurants, and then General Mills bought it and made her head of the department. This is like the craziest story. She must have been so extraordinary.
She was extraordinary.
Yeah.
I mean, she told me even as a little
and has
girl,
passed it on to you, by the way.
Well, not all of the financial acumen, but
Well, that always follows.
Yeah. Well, she, in fact, told me when she was a little girl back in China, in mainland China, she could do the abacus so quickly that crowds would gather around her.
Wow.
So she was just born with an innate business sense.
Yeah, that's amazing.
So General Mills went on to build it into a chain of over 50 restaurants worth over $50 million. And then she ended up buying it back.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
She bought it back.
She bought it back.
And then what happened?
So she bought it back, and then she ended up not selling it, but some VCs did take over. And then she ended up retiring.
Okay.
So this cuts back to me. So I grew up working in this tiny catering kitchen.
Yeah.
While all the other kids were at the mall or ice skating, I was stuck in a basement frying chicken pieces.
Right.
So I was like, get me the hell out of here.
Right.
It's freezing cold.
Yeah.
Not very diverse at the time.
Right.
And I just wanted to break away from that. So I moved to LA after college. I worked in the entertainment industry for 14 years. I did film and TV marketing at studios like Disney and Fox and Universal.
Yeah.
And I always felt like something was missing, though. Like I became a senior VP at age 28, and things happened very quickly for me.
Right.
But I think deep down inside, I knew I was an artist, but I felt like I had to prove something to my parents. Right. So really quick, funny story. So most Chinese American children are expected to be lawyers, doctors, professors, accountants, and all my siblings are those things. So when I decided to go into the entertainment industry, I was
Black
an
sheep.
overachiever. Yeah, black sheep. So I was an overachiever because I wanted to make them feel like I'd be okay. And then my father, I was working at Disney. I was an executive, and he was talking to his friend on the phone, and he goes, "Oh, Katie's fine. Yeah, she works at Disneyland." I'm like, I don't work at Disneyland. I don't scoop ice cream at Carnation Garden. So anyways, after all that, and he thinks I work at Disneyland. Anyway, to make a long story short, one day I decided to throw a dinner party for some clients, but I had forgotten how to cook. So I called my mom. I kept asking her questions, and she was like, "This is ridiculous." So she got on a plane with frozen lemon chicken. She showed up on my doorstep. She cooked the whole meal, but she let everyone think I had cooked it.
Oh, my gosh.
She was just that kind of mom. She opened my fridge, found only champagne and yogurt, was completely mortified. So she set out to teach me how to cook again. And through a series of dinner parties, my friends were like, "You make this look so easy. You should do book together." And I was like, we should do a book together. But I saw an opportunity to finally get to know my mom because she was so busy. We barely knew each other. I was not happy in my career at the time or with my then husband. Right. So I decided to leave my husband and quit my job as a senior VP all in the same month.
I love it. I love it.
I just changed everything.
I always do that thing in my life too. Usually it's everything goes at once, and then, you get all the stuff over with, and then you start your new chapter, right?
Well, I had an acting coach, and he said sometimes you have to go crazy to become sane.
Wow. That's interesting. I like that.
And it was
so true.
It was liberating, right? Because everyone thought I went crazy. So it gave
Yeah.
me permission to do all these wonderful, exciting, creative things with my mom.
So you had this bonding moment with her. Plus, you got to do what you really do love. And it's obviously in your DNA to be a chef, coming from her, so it's in your genes, right?
Well, I had to rediscover it.
Yeah.
The passion had to be reignited. And I think the passion then led to my purpose. But that's the process that had to take place.
Yeah. But then you two end up doing a TV show together, right?
We did.
Yeah,
So
Double Happiness. I love the name.
That's right.
Yeah.
And we had a show on PBS called Double Happiness. It was a mother-daughter cooking and cultural show.
How cool is that? I mean, had you not stepped away from entertainment and done this, you wouldn't have had all these wonderful memories created with your amazing mother.
Oh, I know. I mean,
that is so beautiful.
I trusted my gut and my instinct, but it was really through cooking in those quiet moments that she opened up and talked to me about her life in China, about her hardships, about being in an arranged marriage to my father.
Oh my gosh.
The discrimination she faced as a woman and a minority, in business.
Oh, she must have felt so liberated when she came to the U.S. and then she had these people back her and create the restaurants. And I mean, she must have thought she was like in dream world.
Well, but through it all, she was so humble and gracious. But also bear in mind, when you're an immigrant woman back in the day and you have a heavy accent, people treat you like you're an idiot. So she had to outwit at every turn.
Wow.
Right?
Yeah.
So
oh, no, it couldn't have been an easy journey for sure, even with all the good things that happened her way. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I know. So she was, truly remarkable. So everything I do now, I do to try to honor her culinary legacy.
Yeah. Oh, that's so beautiful. And you did a book together. You did the TV show together. And then you've done some of your own books. Tell me about that. Like, where can people get your books? What is your newest one that you'd like to talk about?
Thanks. So including the book that my mom and I did together, I've done 5 books, and my latest cookbook is called Katie Chin's Global Family Cookbook. It's available on Amazon and all fine booksellers. It's 170 globally inspired recipes.
Oh, wow.
Because my belief is food and cooking is a gateway for children to learn about other cultures and learn how to break bread and embrace our differences instead of, alienating each other.
Right.
So I felt like it was really timely.
Yeah, and this is one of the things everybody has in common, right? Food, love, family. This is what we all have in common. So it's a bridge maker.
It's our greatest common denominator, I feel. But I just want to say, though,
there's nobody that doesn't love food.
Everybody loves food. So I will say, though, when she did pass away 14 years ago, my mother had, such a reputation as a famous chef and restaurateur. So, of course, the book deal we got together was very, very easy to get. But because my platform wasn't very strong at the time when my mother passed away, it was really hard for me. I mean,
you had to build it up.
I faced rejection. I wanted to climb into a little hole.
And I'm so glad you're sharing this honest feedback, because there are people out there, wanting to write a book or start a blog or start their catering business or whatever. And, they have to know it takes grit and it takes persistence, and don't give up. And you're a proof of that.
Well, you have to have humility, and you have to be willing to get up. And also, I like to say, when one door closes, climb through a window.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
Because there's always another way. We pitched a show to Food Network because my mother and I did a special in China for Food Network, and I was all ready for us to do this show, and she had never done TV, and our tape was not good. And I was like, I crawled in my bed. I couldn't get out of bed, And then I realized, what? It's just not our time.
Right.
For Food Network. But I looked up producers on the internet. I found a producer in Hawaii that produced for PBS, and I just called her up.
Oh my God, I love that.
And I'm like, what's the worst that can happen?
Yeah.
You might get rejection. They might ignore you.
Yeah.
They're not going to embarrass you or yell at you for calling them.
Right.
But you
have nothing
just
to
have
lose.
to, exactly, you just have to give it a shot and believe in yourself.
Yeah. I think that is how it is too in my realm, like raising money for things, movies or, right now we're raising money also for an off-Broadway show about female-driven characters. And, all of that, you always have to put aside the fear of asking, no matter what it is, for the greater good of what you're doing, right? Andrea Quinn's great at this about teaching women to empower themselves. I mention her because we both love her and follow her 9 tools to accomplish anything, her quintessentials. But that being said, you have to have that mindset that, and also about finding your people, right? If somebody says no, it's not a no to you personally. It's just they're not your people.
Right.
And you have to go find your people that say, you know what, that's a great idea. I want to get behind that, right?
Exactly. And maybe
Yeah.
it's just no right now. It
Right.
could turn into a
Yes.
yes.
Absolutely.
Some of it is just timing. And you're right.
Yep.
And finding your people.
Yes.
Absolutely. They
Yeah.
get you. But sometimes it takes 99 rejections, but then you get that one yes.
Yeah. And I was just talking to another founder the other day about, she finally had someone who's her people invest in her company. And she goes, oh my God, Catherine, it makes all the difference because you don't want to take money from people invested in your company or opening your doors that aren't your people because it won't be fun. It won't be fun. It'll be a hardship. So better to surround yourself with your people. And people probably mean, well, what does that mean? And that's what I love about Andrea Quinn and her book, The Quintessentials, and her program for women is because she teaches people how to identify who are your people. Mm-hmm. And that's so key in life to being happy is surrounding yourself with people who lift you up and fuel you, right?
Most definitely.
And I think you're really good at that. I think you're good at identifying your people.
Well, I think we have that in common.
Yes.
And what I like to say is I've had 3 husbands, no joke, and 8 careers.
Yeah.
So I've collected a lot of people along the way. And I think also with age and maturity, you're more discerning. But one of my favorite analogies by Andrea Quinn is the whole dog wagging thing when you meet somebody, particularly women. When you meet a woman, if your tail doesn't start wagging, you just know, right?
Yeah.
Your gut instinct tells you walk away.
Right. Interesting. I hadn't heard that one. I like that.
And it has really stuck with me. And I've mentioned it to
and
other
it goes
people.
for men or women or just people.
Yes. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. You do get an inside feeling when you meet your people, right? And it doesn't make other people wrong. It just means their people are their people and your people are your people. And that's what makes the world operate better is everybody is working with their people.
Right. And it's okay. Not everybody goes with everybody.
Exactly. So let's talk about, I know you do work with Children's Cancer Foundation. Tell me about that. And also this other program you were telling me about. Because I know, every successful woman should be giving back and paying it forward. I think we both agree with that, right? And that's what you're doing. So let's talk about these 2 things that I know are near and dear to your heart.
Great. Yeah, my mother really taught me that it's very important to give back to the community. Mm-hmm. And so I learned that from a very young age. So I am the Culinary Ambassador for the National Pediatric Cancer Foundation. Right. They're based in Florida.
And why did you pick that?
Both of my parents passed away due to cancer, so it's a really important.
Too.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah. So you wanted to do something in that realm in their honor.
Yes.
I love that.
Plus, being a chef, I felt like I could make a direct impact as far as teaching people how to eat better, how to eat the rainbow, how to fill their bodies with phytochemicals and cancer-fighting ingredients. So what I do for a living could really make an impact. I do a lot of recipe development. I make personal appearances. And I had been the Culinary Ambassador for City of Hope, and that's why I got to go to the White House and cook at for the annual Easter egg roll under the Obama administration. I just want to make that clear.
I love that. I love that. So did you get to meet the Obamas?
I did.
Oh my God. Love them.
It was unbelievable. Once in a lifetime. And they were the kindest, most charming. They just were like, thanks for coming here, Chef Katie. You go cook it off, girl. Now cook it off. And I was like, I had all the stuff I was going to say to them. And I was like, blah, blah, blah. I don't even remember what I said. I don't know.
But we all do that. That's so funny.
Yeah, it was quite magical. So I'm really proud of the work I do for National Pediatric Cancer.
That's awesome. And then now you have a new program that you're getting behind. I think you said you're on the board. Tell me about that. It's doing the education for Asian history, right?
Yes, it's called Teach AAPI. It's I think it's been in existence for just about under 2 years.
Yeah.
And it was founded by 2 moms based in Los Angeles. But our goal is to integrate more AAPI curriculum into private and public schools. So
And let's tell everybody what that means. That
okay.
acronym.
So AAPI, Asian American Pacific Islander history that is not traditionally taught in high schools or grade schools for that matter. So creating programs, actual curriculum funded by sponsors and through fundraising, workshops, community events. So I've been really proud to be part of that organization.
I love that.
Yeah, and it's a nationwide organization as well. But
especially the way everything's being stamped out. I mean, with DeSantis and these people, trying to squash the history of people. It's just horrifying. But don't get me started on that. Let's focus on the
I think
positive.
we're on the same page about that, but also in light of all this, Asian hate.
Right.
It starts with education.
But thank God for the Academy Awards.
Oh, I know.
It was so great.
It was
I love
amazing.
to see. Yes.
It was so exciting.
The Asian actors rocked it and gave the most beautiful speeches, and I was so excited. It was beautiful. I think it was the most beautiful Oscars I've ever seen.
I know, especially coming off last year's, which we won't go into. But it was completely joyful, and it was really it brought tears to my eyes. And I also co-chair the AAPI LA Task Force for Mayor Karen Bass's office as well.
Oh, I love Karen Bass. My wife and I did a fundraiser for her to become mayor. We are so thrilled. She's the first woman mayor of LA. Super excited about that. She rocks.
Yeah, she really does.
So how can we get people to follow you? You're a mover and shaker and always here, there, and everywhere. And I love it. And we can follow you on social where? I mean, LinkedIn, right?
Yes. So LinkedIn,
Chin.
I'm Katie Chin. And then on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, I'm at Chef Katie Chin.
Okay, at Chef Katie Chin. And your company's called Walkstar, right?
It is.
It's so cute. I love that.
Thank you. It's Walkstar Inc., but my catering business is Walkstar Catering.
Love it. Now, your website I see is chefkatiechin.com.
Yes. Well, that's my blog. And then my catering website is walkstarcatering.com.
Okay, great. So we can look up Walkstar to get the catering. We can read your blog at Chef Katie Chin.
Right.
Beautiful. I love it. Do you like writing the blog?
Yes, but I do so many things. I don't do it as frequently as I should.
Yeah. But if we were to go visit it, you tell what? Recipes and tips, or what is it about?
Oh, yeah. It's all sorts of recipes, focusing mainly on modern Asian cuisine, but Pan-Asian recipes. And all of my recipes usually have an anecdote associated with it. So I think my latest blog post is from the Kelly Clarkson show. So I talk about that experience. And there's photos of me with Kelly and Rita Wilson, of course, and her really long noodle. And the recipe,
you have to watch it to understand
that. Exactly. And the recipes that I made on that segment.
Right. Okay, great. Well, I mean, we just had you cater, like I said, our wrap party, and the food, everybody raved. It was phenomenal. So if you want to have the best Asian food ever, go check out Katie's recipes on her blog, chefkatiechin.com, and also you need to cater a party or event, she's your girl, Walkstar Catering. So thank you so much for being on, and thank you everybody for tuning in. Remember to invest in other women. That's what is going to make the world a better place. We need more women to be angel investors. That's the name of the show. You can follow me, Catherine Gray, Invest in Her on Instagram. You can also follow She Angel Investors and visit us at sheangelinvestors.com. And we have the new movie coming out, which is Show Her the Money. So be sure to follow us on Instagram and Facebook for that as well. Show Her the Money and invest in her. Make it a great week, everybody. Thank you, Katie.
Thank you, Catherine.